Hey, I just wanted to let you know that I am getting excited about doing the 4th Sunday Hop Journaling by Fives with all the streamers who are going to be leading it. I am not one of those streamers, but I am going to be playing along each session. I'm not a newbie to JB5, but I credit it with the releasing my attachment to outcome. I credit it completely with releasing my attachment to outcome, because that's one thing you have to do, is let go of attachment to outcome while you're doing JB5, because there's no percentage in it. So maybe I'll say more about that later. But anyway, I just wanted to show you what I'm going to work with this time, and then I'm going to show you a couple of my books and how I'm getting prepared to play with the gang. So this time I'm using a recollections book. It's one of those little traveler's notebooks. You get it. It comes, 3 in a pack at Michael's. I guess they're still available. I don't know. This is one of the dotted ones. I did take some pages out of it. I counted it out, so there's exactly 10 pages. I'm not counting this first page, so beyond this there are 10. So this counts my number 1 page. So I'm going to do these probably as double pages. Yeah. And I have exactly the right number to do 20. So I'm going to switch cameras and we're going to see what I'm doing to get ready, and then I'll show you some of my books. All right, see you in a minute. So I'm going to start with this group of JB5 pages. Beth Schuler did this in one of her streams, April 2019. And I wanted to play, but I didn't want to commit to 20 pages. So I just pulled out the book I was using to make sketches and do stuff in then at the time. And I decided I wanted to work with 8 pages. So that's what I did. So I just wanted to show you these 8 pages quickly and just kind of show you what the different steps are. So in step 1, you do color. So the color went down first. It looks like I'm scraping it. Maybe I'm brayering it. And then step 2 is that step where you use recycled things or collage. And the title of the step is texture. You add texture to the page. So these were my textured items. I love circles for this. Step 3 is stamps and stencils. So here's one of my stamps. Here's another stamp. Here's some stenciling. And then step 4 is where you pick the focal image and words. So I had this little guy. This is just a practice page where I was practicing with this stamp. I made this stamp out of a little thing I got from the Shakespeare Festival. Is that cute or what? It's actually about 12 inches tall, and it's an articulated thing that I have on the fridge. But the little box that it came in, because it folded up to a little bitty size, the box that came in had this cute little image on it. So I cut it out and I turned it into a stamp and a stencil. Anyway, so I made my focal image out of that. So let's look at the next page. So here's the next page. So you see the color layer behind there. It's rough. It's not perfect. You see the texture. See, this adds the texture. Here comes some stamps. Here's some stenciling. More stamps on this little image. And then my 4th step was the focal image and the words that went with the focal image. When I came back and did my doodling and putting things around the edges and all that kind of stuff. I also wrote things like, how do I like to go up in a swing up in the sky so blue? And on this page, I wrote this afterwards. This page, no longer blank, takes on a life of its own. Here it wanted some shapes and some lines and a dancing artist. J/5 equals divorcing my left brain. So I just wrote what came to mind on these pages. And that was in step 5. Step 5 goes as long as you want it to. Here was another one. See that little piece? That's step 2. And it's where I cut out a hexagon and I cut out a circle from the hexagon, and that's a dimensional piece. And there it is. It just landed right there. And then I had this. Then here's the stamps. 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 Oh, and here's some more texture. So this is step 2. This is step 2. Stamps, stencils is step 3. Step 4 is the image and the words, and step 5 is the doodling. The words on this page are from the last birthday card I got from my sister Nancy, who died in 2005. Wasn't that a good card to get from my sister who has died? I love it. So that gives you a sense of how this works. Step 1, you put paint on the page, the color that's behind there. Step 2, you add stuff that you have cut out. This I played with my Sizzix sidekick and made some, texture plates. They're sitting around. I don't know what to do with them. There they are. Stamping, stenciling. And then step 4 is the image, focal image, and focal words. I mean, this could have been just like this without words, or this could have been just like this without the image. So it's words or images for step 4. And then you come around it and you do the articulating, and I write here, what is this piece doing here? I'm sure I don't know. See, it's an interactive sport, journaling by 5s. I love it. I love finding things like this around my journaling by. I love this page. Now look at this. Here's this color set, and here's this color set. So when you have your stash of stuff around you to put on pages, you've already got this color down on the page. So what does it want for a contrast? And this blue became a decent contrast on this page. It's not got any of that color in it anywhere really. So that was my second step. The stamping, stenciling, and then step 4. Oh, here's another one on step 2. So as you're doing this, you have your whole stash of circles, say, around you. What goes on this page? What do I want to feature on this page? And then for my words, make a wish, and the image of the cat in the tree. Same here. This was in the pieces that I had done. It went with these colors. It contrasted nicely with these colors. These, see, you can see some lines here. That's a stamp I made out of foam. You can see some of it down here. Stamping. Then the focal image. The words I had in my stash. I think this is the last one in this series. So this one, the only thing I put on here for this stage was this little square piece that I had, you know, painted paper. It was a leftover hunk of painted paper. And so I just cut that out, and I really liked how it contrasted with what was on there. And so that's the only thing I put on top of my background on the second step. On the third step, I came around with stamps. I came around with, is that it? That might be it. That's another collage piece I added on there. These two pieces were in my stash, so they might have been on that second step too. This is my focal image, and this was my hand-carved stamp that I had stamped out onto tissue. The words of a song: Spirit, I love you. Oh, how I adore you. Lay my life before you. So what I'm saying is, make it easy on yourself. If you're a complete newbie and you don't want to deal with 20 pages, deal with 5 pages, deal with 8 pages, deal with 10 pages. So here's what I'm doing to get ready. Number one, I got my book ready. So I did take these pages out and I sewed them back in. So it's ready. Got the exact number of pages. I covered it in this great feathered tissue paper because I'm going to take my colorway from this. And I know it's got all colors in it, but I'm going to go soft. I'm not going to do primary colors in this one. I'm going to go soft. And so in keeping with going soft, I'm gathering things. I don't want there, it's going to be too bright. I'm gathering things into a little bin. So I printed off some pages in my thesaurus. So these I can tear out and put on the page. But what I want to do, if I'm going to use these, I want to ink around them before I use them. So this I can tear up into little pieces, or I can cut circles out of while I'm doing it. It won't take very long to do those. These, if I'm going to cut these out, I need to cut them out now before we start. And I don't think I want to use this page like this, so I think I want to cut it out. So that's some more prep work to do. These I'd like to tear out and ink. So that's some of the prep work I'm doing with things like that. Going through my stash, I'm looking for the calm, cooler colors. So I found these little things, they look like little wooden boxes. Isn't that cute? I don't know where I got those. I think probably from the school district. So anyway, I'm going to put those on a couple of my pages. I've got one in white and one in beige. I'm going to put those on a couple of my pages as text. This is all for step 2, okay? All for step 2, collage and recycled. So this is all for step 2. So here's one of those little goodies I made. Not exactly my colorway. The green might never make it to one of these pages, but it might be just a thing. So I'm sticking it in there. This was something that my honey was playing with, cut things. So I get to adopt all of the unwanted things from her desk. Is that cool? Here's one that I tore out, but you know, when you glue that down, it makes no difference. These were some texture things I had done. I didn't think I'd ever want to use it full size, so I cut them in strips and could cut them down even more. Likewise, this piece, some of them have the highlighting on it and some of them don't. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going through my stash and pulling out things that are in my stash that just need a little bit more stuff done. I have my circles. This is my little collection of circles. And so I have these things that I love, you know I love these circles. So these were just made a painty page of circles with shimmery metallic paints some eon ago. They should likely be put in here, and I'll put them back in my circle folder when I'm done. These are some of these you saw in my book I showed you. This is one of those scratcher pages. You know those little books that have scratcher pages? These are the scratcher pages, and don't they make nice little embellishment circles? This, I'm going to show you what that is. So we'll set that up here. Just pieces. You know, that could be a piece. You know, when you put that second layer down, you don't know what's going to go on top of it. Here's some other things. I was watching Tanya make her doodle flowers, so where I punched out butterflies, I used the punch out card as a mask, as a stencil, and then I doodled some butterflies. So I'm going to cut those out. But here's the other thing I'm going to cut out. I'm going to cut out some circles because I like this craft paper. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut these pieces out. But this piece, well, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I want a circle. I declare a circle. Now, keeping in mind, my book is tall and thin. My book is tall and thin, so if I cut this into a full-size page, use of this page, it's not, oh, it'll fit that way. So see there? So we're going to fold it this way and cut it into a circle. Except I want it more of a round circle, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a more round circle. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut see there? Not a circle, right? Do we care? Nope. So here comes the circle. So you can take any of your wonderful jelly prints that you don't like much. And there is a circle to use for step 2. And there's another circle for step 2. And, but wait. There's another circle for step 2. And yes, of course, you can make these more circle-like if you want. Much more circle-like. You can make them exact circles. You can draw circles onto this folded piece of bag. That's long, but who cares, right? Do I care? So anyway, so now I have 4 pieces that I can add to any one of these pages, or I can add them in combination on these pages when I get to step 2. So I'm going to put those guys just like they are in my little basket. So that is kind of how I'm prepping for step 2s. See, this one was one that I drew a circle on a painty paper, and then I drew, you know, those circle templates you have where you've got all the different sizes. So just draw on your painty paper and cut them out, because those make great different sizes of circles to put. So that is how it's going to be. And I'm not going to even bother with step 4. We all pull out words. We all pull out images. I do know one thing, and this is the card that I laboriously crocheted around in Tanya's group the other day. That is going to go on one of these pages, no doubt. And the words say, "Oh, I beg your pardon." From Alice in Wonderland. Okay, so that is it. So I'm not going to go page by page through this because I think that there are flips of my journaling by 5 sessions elsewhere on my YouTube channel. But I do want to show you this. It's the image of the cover of my number 1 and number 3 that I posted on Fibsville Friends. So these are the 5 steps. The first step is the background with paint and ink. The second step is texture, collage and recycled. The third step is pattern with stamps and stencil. The fourth step is focus with words and images. The fifth step is detail with pen and pencil. This was my very first one. I just did it in one of these little books. You know, what is it, 8 by 10? And I just did it. I learned a whole lot about what to do and what not to do. Scraping and brayering paint is the easiest thing. Making sure you have some wax paper to put in here is another thing. I used up a lot of little junk from my desk. I did a lot differently other times. Love this page. See, some of these came out so good that I just love them. And some of them I did techniques that I don't love. So there you have it. You will learn that also. This was left over from a Christmas project we did at my church. I thought, oh, those look like they'd be fun somewhere. This also was a practice piece. It was just a doodle page. And I thought, that's not very attractive. And then here it went down on a page all by itself. Isn't that lovely? Anyway, I don't need to go through all of those. That was number 1. I ended up liking everything except that page. I liked them all. How will I use this day? I ended up liking them. And what is so funny about ending up liking them was that I would pore over journal pages for days on end. And this one, I just threw it down on the page. This is me. And this is my sweetie. When we were mere babes. That's number 1. Number 2, I did something completely different because somebody gave me this old Natural History Museum calendar journal. And it had great art in it. And I wanted to use the art. So before I started to prep this book, I went all the way through here. I made myself a mask. So I used the same mask on all the pages. And I gessoed all the pages with the mask. So I ended up, the whole book was empty, except, and gessoed over, except for where this wonderful Natural History Museum image was. And then I used that as my substrate. So this is 20 pages in the first part. And this is like 18 pages in the second part. It's never been completely finished. So maybe when we're doing the second round on our journaling by 5, if I finish with my pages that I'm doing on our thing, but on our live stream on the 24th. But I wanted all that art. I loved all this nature theme. Isn't that a cute picture? So anyway, that's what I did with my second one, and you can do that too. Pick a book of photos that you love, get it ready, and then use that for JB5. The third book was a themed book, my number 3. And that was in honor of, this is celebrating marriage. And this is in honor of the Supreme Court decision on June 26, 2015, that marriage for all became the law of the land. So one thing I did, I chose primary colors. So all of these are primary colors, and they're scraped on with a credit card. And then I downloaded images of same-sex couples from the internet. So that's why we have same-sex couples on every page, honoring same-sex couples and marriage being the law of the land. So, and all the thing about the primary color, there's things I don't like about this one. Man, I don't like that stamp there. Isn't that a cute picture, those two boys? That's one of the ones I really like. They're wearing the same t-shirt. This was the order of the Supreme Court. Yes. So anyway, it was fun. It's fun to do primary colors. Primary colors are a little bit daunting. They're hard. They're different. They're fun. Yeah. So that catches you up with my 4 sessions, because I opened with the 4th session, and the one I'll be working on the 24th is numero 5, number 5. And once again, thanks to Shannon Green. This was a great process. Totally lit up my life, my art life.